Hello, hello, hello again, everyone. Yes, you will probably see quite a few from me today. I have not posted up in the last week or two, and I have books galore that I've been waiting to talk about. I'm so excited to talk about, and you guys are the ones that are gonna have to hear it, absolutely, because you guys are my book nerds and my peeps. So the latest one that I am such a fan of, if you have not read it yet, is Fuzz. So this is a book. How do I say it? She is a science author, science journalist was that, but it's environmental science journalist, and I just find her hilarious. I think she's very very witty. So it was written in 2021. So this is one. I think this is her latest book. I believe. I'm not sure. And as I said, it's Mary Roach. And this one is called Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law. And it has an adorable little bear there. And he is getting into the trash and all sorts of other critters. And so let's read what it's about, right? Okay. So let's see. Ooh. Okay, what's to be done about a jaywalking moose, a bear caught breaking and entering a murderous tree? 300 years ago, animals that broke the law would be assigned legal representation and put on trial. These days, as New York Times best-selling author Mary Roach discovers, the answers are best found not in jurisprudence, but in science. The curious science of human-wildlife conflict, a discipline at the crossroads of human behavior and wildlife biology. Roach tags along with animal attack forensic investigators, human-elephant conflict specialists, bear managers, and danger tree faller blasters. Intrepid as ever, she travels from leopard-terrorized hamlets in the Indian Himalaya to St. Peter's Square in the early hours before the Pope arrives for Easter Mass, when vandals swoop in to destroy the elaborate floral display. She tests rat bait, learns how to install a vulture effigy, and gets mugged by a macaw. Combining little-known forensic science and conservation genetics with a motley cast of laser scarecrows, langur impersonators, and trespassing squirrels, Roach reveals as much about humanity as nature's lawbreakers. When it comes to problem wildlife, she finds humans are much more often the problem and the solution. Fascinating, witty, and humane, Fuzz offers hope for compassionate coexistence in our ever-expanding human habitats. So, I hope I didn't mess up that. Anyways, so this book obviously has a lusty meter of 0, which is a romance novel thing. If you want to see my other book reviews, that's more relevant there. But I just thought I'd mention it. Disclaimers real quick before we get to talking about the book. Let's see. You might not want to eat while reading certain parts of this book. If you are a snacker like I am. That's the only disclaimer that I'm going to get, because this is a scientific author and she is very real and relevant in the things that she talks about. Just some of them are difficult to read about while you're snacking. And so if you do find yourself with some nummy snacks, maybe wait, maybe not for her. She was wonderful. If I could give this book 100 stickers, I would. I will not, because I actually borrowed this book from a very awesome lady named Terry, and I appreciate you so much. If you ever do watch this, just know you're the best, and thank you for introducing me to Mary Roach. So, what do I love? Oh gosh, where do I start? So it's kind of like a journey. She is just kind of traveling around and asking these questions about what happens when wildlife interacts with humans, and you get to really be a part of that, and kind of, I very much feel like maybe I was like behind the scenes, like a cameraman, just following her around while she's asking these questions. The best thing about her, she's so witty. She's very funny, and then if you have that kind of nerdy, witty humor that kind of go off on a tangent, some of her footnotes are hilarious. I would highly recommend reading them because she's very, very funny. There are some things also in here that you learn about as you go. That's the other thing that I find very interesting and I love about it, is that it's not just funny. The things that she's talking about are relevant, and they're not black and white, easy to answer questions or problems. the issue of what to do when we're encountering nature, and how that affects people is not an easy question to answer. She makes it fun to read, but the questions that she's trying to answer are relevant. Again, it's really easy for me sitting in the woodlands to say, oh man, I, protect all of the elephants and protect all of the wolves, and of course we want those around for our children, but it's really easy for me to say that here in the woodlands when those things aren't affecting my day-to-day life. Elephants aren't coming through and trampling my livelihood. Wolves are not an issue. I don't have to worry about going on a hiking trail and running into one of those animals. Or as she brings up, in Colorado, bears are an issue. I had no idea. I don't live in Colorado. I think I visited once. And so I wouldn't think about that. So I was like, oh gosh, protect the bears. But I wouldn't think about, them interacting with people and what to do about that. And I think that it takes, and she kind of brings up the courageous folk that lead the way in animal, like fish and wildlife services and such, where they have to encounter and create solutions for this. So like in Colorado, the trash cans, I wouldn't know. I mean, it makes sense if you have human habitat that's encroaching on habitats that bears are in. Bears are going to smell and they're going to come. But the more that humans and bears interact, there's going to be conflict and issue, and then eventually death. And then, of course, you have to kill the bear because they killed a human. And then you have this mess, So what do you do about that? And how can we coexist to a place where, humans aren't completely killing all sorts of creatures for their own benefit, I guess. So again, very relevant, very funny. And I think that in the first chapter, she talks about, and I'm trying to, again, to do this without giving spoilers, because I think if I could get people to read, I think this should be, instead of some of the sad stuff they read, because I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, and some of the books that they read that is literature, some of those things are so depressing. I think that it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of this in there. Throw funny in, but still making you think critically about issues that are really relevant to all of us. And so I wish everybody could read this book. I wish everybody would read this book. It is so good. And again, I don't want to bump it up too much, because I'm also one of those people that if someone bumps a book up too much, then I'm going to have too high of an expectation. And if it doesn't meet it, then I'm disappointed. So I don't want that to happen. Just read it and have fun with it. And let me know what you think, of course. The last thing I'll say is I really found it interesting. There are animal forensic investigators, as they mentioned in the book sleeve. And that was interesting. It was kind of like CSI, only which animal. It was a whodunit via, an animal. Like they had mannequins and stuff, and they would say, which animal did this. And they would present evidence, and you kind of think about it, and you're like, ooh, I think it was But it was really funny, I will say, because of all of the different topics. And I would talk to my partner like, oh my God, did you know that when a bear attacks you, it'll go straight for your face and just nom your face? And he's like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I know. And then they talk about like poison from plants, and he's just like, and then he'll hear me laughing hysterically. And he's like, are you reading that same book you were reading? So now it looks like I'm laughing hysterically about, murder and mayhem, and I'm not. She has moved on to something else that was funny, but he was looking at me a little bit like, ooh, should I sleep next to you at night? So, but again, okay, I will quit going on and on about it. Oh, how much it costs. So as I said, I borrowed it from a friend of mine. I will be getting her whole collection. I loved it. I need it in my library. Has to be there. And so I will be getting it soon. So I will be taking my own advice here. On Thrift Books, I found a paperback, which just came out recently, I believe, for $15.43. And again, on things over $10, shipping is free, and you can get points to get free books from Thrift Books. Again, I'm not sponsored. I just think it's awesome because I read a lot. Barnes & Noble, I found it for $21.49. I found it on Kindle on Amazon for $11.77. The hardback for $12.39, which was a steal, and a paperback for $12.31, which was also a steal. Also, please remember your half-price bookstores. or not half price, your used bookstores. Village Books here had quite a few whenever I went there for the book review, or the book club. They had like 4. So if you're around the Woodlands, Texas, and you're looking for Fuzz, head on up to the Village Books, because I saw 3 or 4 copies up there, and I think they were like $25. So, which is kind of costly for like a book, because that can be kind of pricey, but she's totally worth it, I think, because I will be getting her too. So, okay, that is it for this one. If you have any questions, comments, if you have any books you want me to read, I will be doing another one of hers here soon. So please, again, any comments that you'd like me to do, like and subscribe if you like, if you so choose. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Stay awkward and read as much as you can, as often as you can, that your life will let you. And thank you so much.